Hello, my friends, and welcome back to the What If Project vlog. My name is Glenn, and it is wonderful to see you here today. We're almost to Thanksgiving here in the United States, and it's one of my favorite holidays, mainly because I really like turkey. I love all of the things that go with the turkey, the mashed potatoes, the stuffing, the corn, the gravy, the biscuits. And our turkey is a special turkey. I know a lot of people do this, but we put turkey on our bacon. We put bacon on our turkey, and then we put it in the oven and we cook it. And about maybe an hour before the turkey is like ready to come out, the bacon's ready to go. So we take the bacon off the turkey. It's nice and crispy, and we eat the bacon. We test the gravy by dipping dipping the bacon in the turkey. We put maybe some pieces of the bacon in the gravy, and it is a good thing to do. It is delicious. But anyway, I love Thanksgiving because the pies, the parade, all the different kinds of things. It's one of my favorite times of the year. So I'm looking forward to it. I hope that if you are in the US and this is something you celebrate, I hope that is a good time for you. I know that sometimes when holidays come around and families get together, especially in the world of those who are maybe deconstructing, like we are, asking questions about their faith, that often leads into kind of a shift in ideas in politics. And sometimes family's not where you are. It could just be a real hot, sticky mess. And so I hope that it's not a sticky mess for you. And I hope that you were able to have an enjoyable holiday, an upcoming holiday season as well. Today, what I wanted to do is in honor of the indigenous people who were here in America long before there was an America, because there's a very long, rich history of indigenous people and various Native American tribes. What I wanted to do is I wanted to share with you something that I've learned in the last couple of years regarding a tribe. Now, I might pronounce all of these things incorrectly. So if you're like a history buff and you know that this moron over here is not pronouncing things correctly, I do apologize, but I will do the best that I can. I guarantee you that. There's only two words that I'm not 100% sure how to say. But anyway, there's a tribe, a Native American tribe called the Lakota tribe, or the Lakota people. And they had a concept known as the Heyoeka. Heyoeka, the Lakota people, a concept called the Heyoeka. And the Heyoeka, what that stands for, what that means is the other. And what would happen is the tribe would have somebody within the tribe be the Heyoeka, or be the other. And this person would be responsible for purposely being intentionally being different than everybody else in the tribe. So this person would take on the opposite views of the tribe. They would talk differently than the tribe. They would act differently than the tribe, all the way down to they would walk backwards around the land. They would cry when other people were happy. They'd be happy when other people were crying. And they would just take the opposite point of view and really be the opposite of everybody else in the tribe. And the purpose was so that we can look at this person who's the other, and can we welcome this person in with their differences and their differences of opinion? Can we welcome them to the table, so to speak, as opposed to casting them out and throwing them out of the tribe and throwing them out of the land? And perhaps the best way to explain it is if I read to you this excerpt from this book. I talked about this book recently, Alexander John Shaya, Radical Transformation, the Four Gospel Journey of Heart and Mind. And I could tell you how this piece fits into the larger context of the book, but that will take me way too long, and I'll probably botch it up somehow. So I just want to read to you this particular section because it's really got me thinking a lot lately about this idea of the other, and I'll talk about that in just a minute. But the section's titled Welcome the Other. The Lakota people of North America have a concept called the Heyoeka, or the other. A person identified as a Heyoeka, whether male or female, becomes the official opposite feeling and thinking and expressing what others in the tribe will not. The Heyoeka dresses in heavy clothes in the summer and lightweight fabrics in the winter, walks backwards, laughs when others are sad, and is sad when others are happy. His or her most important role, this is key, his or her most important role is served when the people are in deliberation at council. As a decision begins to gain approval, the Heyoeka must speak loudly and strongly to the opposite opinion. The Lakota believe that every voice and every position on an issue must be given a respectful hearing before the people can make a correct discernment. Heyoeka is a specific name for a specific people, but this practice of offering respect to every voice and position is generally found throughout the indigenous people of the Americas. And this has me thinking about who are the Heyokas in my life, right? My watch is making all sorts of weird things here. Sorry. Who are the Heyokas? I think my watch thought I said Siri. I did not say Siri. Sorry. Anyway, who are the Heyokas in my life? Who are they? Who are the others in my life? And that really has multiple answers depending on the time or the season of my life that I'm looking back on or I'm looking at. For instance, even as close as 4 or 5 years ago, I identified as an evangelical Christian who was definitely on the more conservative side of the spectrum for a considerable amount of time. And so for me back then, the other was people like me, like me today, the people who are asking questions, people who are expressing doubts, people who are poking holes in various doctrines and theologies, people who are critiquing the church, people who are critiquing the idea of God that I think the church has created. For me, that was the other. And there were times where I can remember debating with people online. There was this online forum. It was a sports website. I think it was called like baseball.com, something like that. And it was a community of people who would go on there and we would talk about baseball. But there was this thread on there where you could talk about whatever you wanted. And very often religion would be one of the topics that would come up. And I would go in there purposely, not really to talk as much about baseball, but to debate with these people about God and about Christianity. And there was a few people in there who were atheists, and they would challenge me with different things, and I would get in their faces. And I'm not proud of that today, but you could hear me in my room pounding on my keyboard, just going at these people because I wanted to shoot down the things that they were trying to shoot down about my faith and what I believed. And to me, those people were the other. And what I did is I outcasted them, right? They were not welcome in my vicinity. They were not welcome in my bubble. They were not welcome at my table. They could go sit at another table somewhere else. I don't want to hear what you have to say. I'm not interested in learning from you. I'm interested in doing nothing but disproving the points that you are trying to make. And if you don't like that, I will disprove them even more. That was the approach that I took. And isn't that the approach that a lot of churches take today with people who are deconstructing, with the deconstructing community? I can't tell you how many evangelicals have come at me in my email, in my comment section, in my direct messages on Facebook, and even on Instagram, and have really come at me and challenged me in the same way that I used to challenge those people, like get in my face, like load up their shotgun. I don't know how you load a shotgun, but whatever, loading up their shotgun with Bible verses and just coming at me and just shooting them at me, like boom, 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 trying to disprove the different points that I try to make in my various posts, podcasts, etc. There's no room for me at the table, right? There's no interest in learning from me. There's no interest in dialoguing with me. It's all about proving me wrong, which is what I used to do to people like myself back in the day. So for me back then, the other was people like me today. But also looking at this, looking at myself today, the other is very often the evangelicals, the people who I used to identify with. It's very easy for me today to view those people as the Heyoeka, as the other, to look at those people as they're the ones who are not, they're not getting it. Right? They're not grasping the bigger picture of God and the Bible and everything else. They're so interested in their doctrines and their theologies and believing the right things, A, B, and C, and saying the sinner's prayer and walking the Roman road and getting into heaven and avoiding hell and waiting for Jesus to come back and take us to heaven and destroy the world and do all these things. It's all about voting Republican. It's all about anti-science. And it's very easy to start labeling people, right? Labeling evangelicalism as this stuff and seeing those people as the other. And there's nothing wrong with seeing them as the other, right? That's what I'm learning. It's okay to view, it's okay for me all the way back then to view the deconstructing community or the atheists or whatever as the other, people who are of differing opinions and faiths as the other. It's okay for me today to look at evangelicals and think that they are the Heyoeka, they are the other. But the question becomes is how do we treat the opinions of the other? Do we outcast them? Do we shame them? Do we load up our shotgun with our evidence shotgun with Bible verses or scholarly articles or whatever and just fire them rapidly? Are we just out to engage in conversation so we can prove the other person wrong and then outcast them from our community? Unless they change their opinion, then we'll welcome them into our group and they can be part of the in-group. Or do we treat the other with respect? Right? Do we treat the other, do we say to the other, hey, you know what? I don't agree with you. I think that your opinion is wrong. I think that it is incorrect. I might even think that your opinion, not you, I might think that your opinion is downright stupid. But I'm interested in learning why it is that you think the way that you do. Because you're a human being, just like me, right? You put on your pants in the same way that I put on my pants, right? We have that in common. And so I'm curious to understand, why is it that you think this? Like, let's talk about hell. I don't believe in hell. I've deconstructed it right down to the bare bones. I've poured gasoline on it, and no pun intended, I've lit it on fire. Right? I don't believe in hell anymore. I don't believe that there is a hell. I don't believe that there is separation from God. I don't believe in it at all. But I have a lot of friends, even more progressive thinking friends, who do believe that there is a hell, even if it looks drastically different than they thought hell was back in the day, an eternal place of fire and torture and separation from God. They might have rethought what hell is. Like, there is a hell, but it looks very different than what it used to. I just don't believe in it anymore. And I could go through my Bible and get 10, 15, 20, 30 verses I could line up, and I could present the evidence of why I don't think there's a hell, and that would be wonderful, whatever. But is that the only reason why I'm going to engage in conversation with you? Or do I want to say to you, someone who believes in hell, hey, you know what? I don't believe in hell anymore. You do. I can respect that because I used to believe in hell as well. I'm interested, given A, B, and C, these three things I've come to kind of rethink about hell. Why do you still believe in hell? Right? Why? Help me understand kind of where you're at and why you think there's a hell. Apart from that's what the Bible says, because I could argue that's what the Bible says too, that there is no hell. You can argue that's what the Bible says, there is a hell. So let's just throw that out the window. Tell me, as a human being, why is it that you think there is a hell? Help me understand where you're coming from. And then I think that once you understand me, I understand you, right? We're each the Heyoeka to one another. I'm the other to you, you're the other to me. Once we understand where the other is coming from, and we understand their story, and we understand why it is they think the way that they do, isn't it much easier to then invite them to the table? and to say, hey, I don't see eye to eye with you. I think that you're 100% wrong. But I can see that you're a good person. I can see that we have common goals and that we want to make the world a better place. So we don't see eye to eye, but why don't we connect arm in arm and move forward together? And before we do that, why don't we break some bread together and learn a little bit more about each other's stories? I mean, God, can you imagine, right? Can you imagine if this was the way that more of us responded? And I'm going to talk about just really the church for a moment, Christianity. If this was the way that the conservative evangelical community responded to the deconstructing group, and the way the deconstructing group responded to the conservative evangelical community, could you imagine if we all just took that approach? I don't understand what you're talking about. I don't agree with you. I think you're wrong. I think your ideas are stupid, but you want to know what? I would really like to learn more about why it is that you think the way that you do about this, and this topic. Help me understand. Now, here's where all this breaks down for me, because that's all good in theory. I'm on board with it. I've had discussions like that with people, and they're wonderful. I have friends who are evangelical. They believe a lot of things that are the opposite of what I believe, but we've had conversations that have gone just that nobody's raising their voices. Nobody's throwing Bible verses at each other. It's just, hey, this is what I think. This is what you think. Cool. Let's go forward and spread the good news about love to the world. It's wonderful when that happens. But here's where it breaks down for me. It breaks down when the ideas of someone else are harmful, traumatizing, or toxic to other people. That's where it breaks down for me. And when ideas are presented with a certain rhetoric that shames and cuts somebody else down to size, that I don't have space. I don't have a category for that in all of this. When the Heyoeka, when the other is going to present their ideas in a way that is harmful to the emotions, to the mind, to the heart, to the soul of another human being, I don't have any patience for that. And I won't talk to you about it. I will tell you that you're wrong. And I will tell you to go away and come back when you're able to talk in a more respectful manner with your ideas. For instance, if somebody is against LGBTQ people, that's fine. Be against LGBTQ. Think it's a sin, whatever. But when you start telling people, you start telling LGBTQ people that their sin, right, their lifestyle, whatever you're going to call it, puts them on the same level as a murderer, a rapist, a pedophile, all these different things. Just shut up. Just stop talking, right? Because you're wrong. And that's a very harmful way to present your ideas to someone who is gay, right? We have to be careful with how we present our ideas. If you're a deconstructing person, a deconstructing person is going to shame an evangelical, tell them that they're stupid and they're dumb. And how could you possibly believe this? And you think that I'm going to hell. If there is a hell, you're going to hell. I mean, that kind of stuff. Just stop. Just stop. And this is a line that I'm learning to walk in my life. I don't have this all figured out, because there are times, I will tell you, there are times when somebody comes on my screen here on my computer, on my phone, whatever, and they come at me with some kind of argument. I'm like, oh, that's it. You can ask my wife, but that's it. I can get my book out and just put this person in their place, right? The other has come to me, and I'm going to cut this person down to size. I'm learning as well how to walk this line. It is a very hard line to walk. It's a very difficult thing to learn, especially when, like myself, you grew up in the evangelical world that was all about disproving the lies and building up the truth and defending the truth and all this kind of stuff. It's very easy to bring that same mentality from the conservative evangelical world over to the deconstructing world, where I'm now just going to prove everybody wrong still, just from the opposite point of view. It's a fine line to walk, and we're all learning. So that said, who is the Heyoeka for you? And are you seeking to just disprove them, prove them wrong, cast them out? Or are you interested in welcoming them in, learning from them, growing with them, maybe not seeing eye to eye with them, but locking arms and moving forward arm in arm to spread love and joy and peace into the world. That's all I got, my friends. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone, whether you celebrate it or not. A happy time of year for you. And much love. Thanks for dropping by. Give this a like, give it a dislike, subscribe to the channel, show it some love, do all the things, pass it around. Much love to you, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.